It is a beautiful morning here in the Dominican Republic. It is less than 72 hours before we have to leave, and we are headed to go get a COVID test today.
I'm ready!
It is the 27th today, Wednesday the 27th, and officially, as of 2 days ago, the US now requires a COVID test to enter the country. So we are on our way to get that COVID test. It will be approximately 71 hours before our flight. We're gonna tell you everything about our experience while we're down here, exactly what you need at this current moment to enter. Make sure you stay tuned. Back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Max.
I'm Marin.
And we're Voyager Group. We post weekly videos with travel tips, hotel reviews, and videos from some of our favorite destinations around the world. If you don't already, consider subscribing. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really means a lot. Today, we're going to be going and getting a COVID test down here in the Dominican Republic.
I know it could be a scary thing in another country getting a COVID test. We're going to do our best to give you some tips that might help you on your exciting journeys.
This is a very new rule as of only a couple days ago, so obviously the contents of this video we're going to try and get up as soon as possible. That way you have access to all of the relevant information, but do keep in mind that everything is going to change as it has throughout this pandemic. If you're looking to get a COVID-19 test down here in the Dominican Republic, be sure to check the government website for the United States and for the Dominican Republic or whatever country you're visiting before you travel. That's a really important thing. Make sure to check whatever the updated guidelines are. We're going to go ahead and put a link in the description below that should be to the updated guidelines. However, do keep in mind that those links do change sometimes. So please, if there is a broken link or something, don't just slam us in the comments. Let us know and we'll be sure to update everything that we can and as much as we can. YouTube doesn't really let you update videos once they're posted. So once the content in this post does become dated, we'll do our best to try and keep things updated in the comments.
So let's get ready to get that COVID test.
We are on our way to a doctor's office where we managed to make an appointment. There were quite a few walk-in options, but ultimately we thought that if we were able to get an appointment, that would be a much better option than trying to wait in line with a mix of people that are potentially trying to take flights, but also people who might think that they have symptoms. So we just thought that might be the better option, to choose the smaller clinic that has appointment options.
And the US is pretty generous right now with the policy. You can take a PCR test, which is the famous into your brain test, which is actually not into your brain, it's into your sinus. There's also the option for an antigen test, which is usually done through a lower nasal swab or a throat swab, or you can prove recovery from COVID if you have a doctor's note and a positive antibody test. So there's a few options that give people a little bit more opportunity to get a test before flying back into the country. Today we're going to get a antigen test. They come back much quicker. Oftentimes down here the PCR tests, because of how backed up they are, typically come back in around 72 hours, which cuts it a little bit too close for the 72-hour mark to get on the plane. So hopefully things will go well, and looks like we'll be there in just a minute.
All right, we're walking up to the clinic now, and I don't know if they're gonna let us film inside. Chances are probably not. So we'll probably update you on our way back outside. Any final words?
I hope it doesn't hurt.
Small update. It's taken us about 20 minutes to actually see somebody, and basically what they did was we finally managed to confirm with them. They took our passport and a form of payment, in our case credit card. They're going to process that and then come back out to get us. I think it's a little bit complicated because it's such a small office.
Our recommendation, even if you have an appointment, make sure you show up early and expect to wait. This is the case everywhere that I've seen, so just keep that in mind.
We messaged them on WhatsApp and they were able to confirm that we were out here through the WhatsApp number as well, so that was super useful. Every time the door opens, you think it's for you.
Oh, it never is.
It's like a mad rush. Everybody like runs over to the door.
Yeah.
Still. still here waiting. Luckily we paid though, so
One step closer.
we have a receipt. That's solid. Place to start. You probably can't hear us between the masks and the road noise. We'll see what that sounds like later. That's gonna be exciting. Alright, stay tuned. Things are looking up. We are now inside.
Indeed.
So
We'll see. We'll see how long it takes.
alright, we just got out of the clinic. Woo! That went really far up our nose. We'll tell you a little bit more about what our experience was like. Here we go.
And we're back home.
All in all, that experience went pretty well. That was actually our very first COVID test since this started. So mostly our approach to this, since it has been difficult to get COVID tests, is to simply just quarantine ahead of time, where we've taken about 14 days before travel and 14 days after travel. Since really the only place we've traveled during COVID-19 has been down here to the Dominican Republic, we just found that it was a lot easier to quarantine.
And we've been trapped all by ourselves for 2 weeks.
But now, because the United States is requiring a COVID test to enter back into the country, it is something that we have to do. Shortly, we'll have the results. We'll let you know what those were.
So now to talk about what you actually need to get back into the United States. So other countries, it will depend. So do check with your government, the government of where you are, as well as with the airlines. But for the United States today, on the 27th of January, you are able to bring either a PCR, an antigen test that's via your nose or a throat swab, or you can bring proof of recovery as long as it's certified by a doctor with a positive antibody test. We chose to go with the antigen test because it does have a quicker turnaround. The PCR is the most accurate, and we would have taken that one if we knew we could get the results in the time that we needed. However, there really is no guarantee in the Dominican Republic today that you'll get that PCR result within 72 hours. We did go with the next best option, which is the antigen test. It is also a cheaper option in most places. And what you'll find today in the Dominican Republic and in a lot of other countries, some of the higher end hotel brands are giving free antigen testing at the hotel. This is great for American citizens because it's free. For Canadians and others, they will give you access to the PCR test required, but you do have to talk to them in advance for that.
As far as specifically the Dominican Republic, they did announce a couple days ago that they are going to be offering antigen tests at the airport for day of travel, but we didn't really have a lot of confidence that that was going to happen before we were leaving, since this is really kind of the beginning of the whole program. So we weren't sure that by our upcoming flight on Saturday that would be the case. So we decided to just go ahead and pay for a test anyway to make sure that we had. One thing to keep in mind is when you actually get the test. Now for the United States, as of today, they're saying 72 hours. But it is important to note that if you do have delays that delay beyond 12 to 24 hours where your flight might change, it is possible that you end up outside of the window where the airline's going to actually allow you to board. Now, most of the stories that we've heard where this particular thing has occurred, the airline has been pretty flexible about it because it is usually on the airline. However, that is really going to depend, and so it is something that you should keep in mind and at least have a backup plan for if you do end up having to get another test and have to move your flight.
So the number one question we're already getting from our experience this morning is around what happens if I test positive? If you're traveling at all, you should know there's a huge risk involved to begin with. So having a plan B is critical. If you are going somewhere where you can't afford to stay an extra 14 days or aren't able to, that's really on you. So one thing to keep in mind is, are you staying at a hotel that offers the insurance built into your rate that they'll extend your stay at either a discount or for free, as some hotels are doing? Or are you staying in an Airbnb, and are you able to extend that Airbnb beyond the dates that you have booked today?
If you're looking at this video and you're anticipating travel, it is an important thing to note that if you are going to be traveling outside the United States, you are taking on the risk that getting back into the country could prove very difficult if you don't have a negative test. And so that could come from not being able to actually get tested, but it could also be that you end up getting coronavirus and you test positive. And if that is the case, you should do the responsible thing, which is to quarantine and follow those government laws. Now, it could end up being very expensive, and so that is something to keep in mind. Certain countries are requiring insurance. So for instance, entering into the Bahamas is providing their own insurance that you pay for in order to be covered for anything that should happen to you while you're there. But there are other external insurances. They are quite expensive though, so do keep that in mind. Weigh the difference between whether or not you end up getting stuck and have to just quarantine in a local hotel or an apartment, and also check what the regulations are for the area that you're going and whether or not you can do that. For us, traveling down to the Dominican Republic is a little bit different because we do have an apartment down here. It's a lot easier for us to come down here and know that we have a place to be if anything were to go wrong, but there are certainly risks involved.
Since this is day 2 of this regulation into the United States, keep in mind everything we said could literally change tomorrow. So we've added as many links as we can, directing you to resources that are up to date. So be sure to check those out in the description below, and also continue checking with local governments and the CDC as well before traveling.
Likewise, I'm pretty sure based on the tags in this video that YouTube has already put up a bunch of flags all around our video that say specifically contact the CDC for updated travel information. So I'm sure that there's a banner or something linked somewhere in this vicinity around here or over there that says something with regards to that for the most updated information. Definitely something to check out. And then of course, the quick disclaimer, we are not medical experts. We are simply people that are traveling, and we want to give you our firsthand experience of what this was like and what issues we're looking at and facing. Again, all of this information could change readily, so hopefully we provided you with the most accurate information that at least we have at this current juncture. Now, of course, if you did find this video useful, be sure to give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And of course, if you have any additional questions, throw them in the comments below, or any feedback, something you think we missed, or anything that you'd like to know more about our experience, be sure to ask us in the comments. We love engaging with you in the comments. We really enjoy it, but it also really helps our page grow. And of course, if you don't already, go follow us on Instagram at Voyager Guru, and you can find more additional resources, including articles that we've provided on our website at voyagerguru.com.
And as always, I'm Marin.
And I'm Max.
And we're Voyager Guru. See you out there.
Results are in.
Yeah.
We are negative. All right, so that means we are gonna get back into the U.S.
Yes! Best news of the day right here.
This is the end screen. Check it out. Go click on some of the other videos and stay tuned for our next video.